The holiday season is upon us, and normally that means no racing. But not for EMSA. After a grueling 10-week campaign on rovals all throughout the country, our drivers will do battle on 3 of America's street circuits: Detroit, Chicago, and here in Long Beach, California. For years, Long Beach has played host to Champ Car, IndyCar, IMSA, and even Formula One. Today, IMSA brings electric cars back to the streets for the first time since Formula E in 2016. This track has numerous action zones along the 1.9 miles, the legendary fountain section, of course the final hairpin, and depending on how you exit that hairpin and accelerate down Shoreline Drive, determines if you can get a great run to challenge your rival into Turn 1, a very hard-braking left-hand corner. Keep an eye on that all evening long. We will be watching with excitement as we welcome you to the EMSA Service Experts eTriple Crown Challenge, with Bryan, Sawyer in the production truck and Cody Erdmann next to me in the commentary box. I am Josh Mertz as we are live from the Long Beach Street Circuit in Long Beach, California on the Automotive Sports Network, as our coverage and series brought to you by the Service Experts Advantage program. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment, and for more information, visit serviceexperts.com. Cody, I know you ran away before I started. Hopefully you're back. I want to ask you, because Long Beach is such a legendary circuit, what do you think of these cars on this track?
It should be entertaining. I know you tested a little bit ago, kind of just ripping some laps around here, and you figured out some things that we should look for when we're on especially the beginning circuit, how narrow it is, going around the fountain and everything. So these cars pretty much drive like a glorified go-kart. So it's kind of just like what we see with actual go-kart racing. It's just gonna be a big street circuit and should be a fun night to watch some good racing.
As I was just about to mention, Paul Crone comes in as the defending series champion of the eRoval series. He does not have the yellow number plates. I was going to mention, if anyone who is new to our coverage, we'll go over our format here in a minute. But he was in the fountain and spun it in the fountain and ran over the foliage. So here we're taking a look. We'll leave Jordan Pritchard, car number 9, the winner from Daytona Beach, the first round of the eRoval Championship. And Cody, this series is a 3-race season, not a lot of time for mistakes, and it's a reset for all the guys that had pace, but Paul Crone blitzed them last season for eRoval.
Yeah, as we got a couple new drivers that came in at the end of the season, and especially one with Mathis winning the final round of the eRoval series. He's probably got the most momentum coming into tonight. He has some decent speed as he was third in practice as we're starting qualifying here, so we're going to take a couple minutes before we get lap times laid down. But yeah, it should be a nice reset for everybody. Now they can focus on just trying to tackle these 3 rounds and not have to worry about a full 10-round season.
Yeah, it's 15-minute qualifying session. Everyone can run their own lap times. At the end of that 15 minutes, you better be crossing to finish your last lap. Otherwise, it won't count. Then we'll have a 20-minute feature race. After that, we'll have a 5-minute warm-up in the second feature race here in Long Beach. We're going to have the top 10 inverted, and I think we have 11 cars here this evening, so there's going to be one odd man out. I wanted to jump into the driver's meeting and tell Dylan Thomas, series owner, that it's probably going to be him as a joke. He'll probably roast me on the Twitch chat here, so be sure to join the conversation, whether it's on Twitch or on ASN On Demand on YouTube. So we ride on board with JJ Wang, who, Cody, 0.6 of a second faster in practice. Thoughts?
Yeah, he was absolutely blistering in the beginning. He was a second faster at one point. Then everyone kind of caught up to him, and then he just found some more speed and jumped away from everyone again. So we'll keep an eye on him all night long. He's probably going to be a possible favorite, but as we learned through the eRoval series, like the second half, he was setting fast times almost every week, but unfortunately just making small mistakes, and it was costing him, and then he was getting shuffled back in the pack, and then the invert kind of didn't help him either, so see if he can put these 3 rounds together.
As normally it'd be your job to take us through a lap here in Long Beach, but I ran a couple laps earlier on, so we'll focus on JJ Wang exiting the hairpin down Shoreline Drive. There's only one gear because these are electric cars, so you don't have to worry about shifting, but you have to make sure that you can get all 4 wheels down to the ground fairly consistent. Bumpy, drift left, aim towards the right to get the best run into the corner. Don't go over the yellow line. Hard to get this apex right. You want to clobber the curb. Otherwise, you're into the accurate sign. Not a good deal. The hairpin's so tricky. You basically want to hit the wall every single chance you get to make it through the corner. Down the short chute. Back out onto the other side of Shoreline Drive. Very easy to hit those curbs and spit you out into the barrier. Now we're going reverse down Shoreline Drive and back down into the corner. As the Cody turn, around goes Wang, ruins my lap. Sorry, Cody, your turn.
Oh, good. Yeah, which, as we've seen, and I think everyone has seen if they've watched any of the IndyCar races from here, or a little bit of IMSA. I know IMSA also runs here a little bit. This track is extremely technical. It's got a lot of like tight corners where almost in a way kind of like Baku in this section here, it's only one lane. If you try going too wide there, you're pretty much insanity, but you can make it work. I did notice something. I want to see if Krohn does it again. In the final hairpin, he backed up all the way like to the wall and got like a launch. Like he took the corner and then backed up to the tire barrier and then launched it.
Oh, huh. We'll have to take a look and see. I thought as you were describing that, you were meaning
115.9.
Dylan Thomas as 115.881 for Jeff Mathis. To put that into perspective, well, 115.6 for JJ Wang in practice. He ran in .999 in qualifying. So, I thought you were mentioning backing up the corner, not actually backing up on the circuit.
He was actually backing up the circuit, almost having the rear wing touch the tire barrier through the hairpin. We'll see if he does it again. It's not a bad idea, honestly. It's kind of like for iRacing on the NASCAR side, like running 3 and 4 wide to get a good speed down the front straightaway. I've seen that happen. Like I know that happens personally. So
let's see if he does it here. He I think that was Dylan Thomas by. He looks like he's going to do it again. Now the reason why you would do this is because of the torque in all 4 wheels. Just immediately instant torque off the line. You're going to get a better drive down to the final, or the first corner, I should say. A couple more miles an hour will help carry speed in as long as you ace this braking point. And this turn 1, so tricky to get right. The 300 board is way too late. That's what I learned. He broke basically at what the 600 board would be if it existed. Clobbered the curb in turn 1. Right, left, around the fountain, not into the foliage, hugs the curb, through the fountain, into turn number 4, back out onto Shoreline. A little bit scruffy in the short chute there, back out onto the straightaway, underneath the bridge to Takati turn, and we'll see at the 300-meter board. That wall juts out. Looks like he clipped the wall, doesn't use all the road on the exit, all the way left, and I've seen a lot of guys cut way down to the wall here, which he does to maintain the best line through the corner, down Seaside Way, down to Firestone Turn. We've seen so many accidents through the years. Colton Herta was it last year in the Indy cars in this corner. Easy to lock up. These cars have anti-lock brakes, but still easy to misjudge your braking point. Rounding the left-hand corner, which I've sent a couple passes through this corner in my day. Hairpin, and we do it all over again. We're going to take a look at this lap time, Cody. Never mind, he hits the wall. It's going to invalidate it, I think.
Yeah, as I believe actually coming out of the fountain, he also kind of kissed the wall. So, fortunately, invalidated lap. Right now we got Mathis and Wang, 2 TWR teammates, 1-2 at the moment, just 2 tenths apart, and then 8 tenths down is Christian Jasper. So, and then they're the only 3 under the 17-second bracket at the moment.
The guy behind has just done
so far for Dylan Thomas is JJ Wang fastest at a 1:15.700. As we cross halfway home in this qualifying session, we'll see the 61 park his car, and we'll see if Jeff Mathis can respond. But Christian Jasper, one of the newcomers to the series, Ben Carswell as well, Adrian Johansson in the 27. Martin Mathis has returned in car number 14. We haven't seen him since the incident in New Hampshire, at least then, back in the E-Roval series, so it's been quite a while. Ian Lane and Krohn actually has not set a lap time due to having them invalidated. So we'll keep an eye on Jeff Mathis here, Cody. I think it's a duel between him and JJ, as they're a second quicker than the rest of the field.
Yeah, they've been...
Which is wild, I must say.
Yeah, I will say it is hard to kind of put a good lap together here, though. Trying to hit every mark perfectly, not as we saw with Paul there. You can run pretty much a perfect lap all the way through, then accidentally kiss the wall coming out of the hairpin. That totally invalidates your entire lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We may have a couple guys that unfortunately couldn't get a good qualifying lap in, but have good speed otherwise for the race. So we'll have to. It's one thing to watch.
So we're gonna keep an eye. As Christian Jasper, I think, was on a hot lap. Aaron Totten sits P6 at the moment. Krone's going to come off the final corner. Let's see if he's beginning a lap or if he's ending a lap in car number 38. He's going to begin a lap. So let's see if he will have any issues this time around. Braking so early for turn 1. Misses the apex. Doesn't hit the wall. He'll at least be able to use this to get a lap time down, but it's going to be absolutely frustrating when something like that happens, Cody.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know. He's. Sorry, I'm like lost for words at the moment.
He must be. I would think. Oh, tap the wall there on entry. He's overcompensating, I'd have to think. Really pushing the tires, complaining under acceleration over the crest and down to Seaside Way, knowing that I should not be in the back of the field right now. I should be absolutely at the point, on the point of this field. And about 30% left of qualifying and still no lap time set for our inaugural eRoval Series champion, Paul Krone. So let's see. Rounding the hairpin, Cody. Let's see if it'll count this lap.
See, yeah, we'll say that the pressure may have gotten to him, which is weird. But trying to be the reigning defending champion. P5 with a 17-1.
As hopefully I'm back now. I realized that I was flickering. I didn't know if it was me or if it was iRacing. Paul Krone 117-1. So I wonder if as soon as he locked up in turn 1, Cody, that he just said screw it and at least he's got a lap on the board.
Yeah, that's almost the best thing to do is just to run a lap. Make sure you just have a lap time on the board and then try to jump up. There's now Lane has jumped up to P3 with a 16.4 and Jasper with a 16.5. So a couple guys are getting close to the top 2.
The battle for pole is beginning. This should be the last run that these guys are going to have. Mathis is going to begin his last qualifying run super early compared to JJ Wang, but we say it every single show just in case anybody's new. Normally, in racing like Formula 1, in qualifying, if you cross the line with a second left in the session, that lap will count. It's not that way here. You cross the line with a second left, you will not even run your lap, so you have to make sure that you have that time. Jeff Mathis crosses the line to begin his final qualifying run in car number 72. Down to turn number 1. Everybody braking super early, hard on the brakes, anti-lock brakes so you can't lock them up. Clobber the curb in the 72. So tricky and easy to run this too far. As we pay attention to Jeff Mathis, JJ Wang, his teammate, is entering the final sector now. Hopefully you haven't lost me again. As Mathis through the middle sector, we'll try and see split times. Trying to get my timing to work, and it's not working. So we're just going to guess and see what'll happen, because I don't think that anybody else will have the pace for pole position this evening. Ian Lane's backing up to the wall, like you said, Krone did earlier, to try and run this final run in qualifying. JJ Wang has set or begun his lap in qualifying. Jeff Mathis through the hairpin. Let's see where this will take him in the 72. He had a 10th, make it 2 tenths to catch JJ Wang for pole position in Long Beach. Crosses the line. 1:15.642. Fastest of all is Jeff Mathis in the 72. What a run from the newcomer who won last week in Charlotte. I think JJ Wang hit the wall. I'll roll it back to see. I think he did. So this might invalidate his lap. No. And he has looped it. So that might settle this qualifying session. Lane has hit the wall in his last lap. Going P3, Jordan Pritchard at a 1:16.2. but we might be seeing pole position. Yeah, Wang's not going to make it, and I think he realized he exited the pit lane. I don't know what he's doing, Cody.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. As we all know that pretty much he had to take the green at about 30 seconds ago. So
Crone off the final corner. We'll see if this is a lap to set. 1:16.8. So he went personal best, but he did not improve his position. And we can see how he feels with that one. We might be looking at a pole position for Jeff Mathis. So it's another TWR pole position here in EMSA, but it's not JJ Wang. That was a monster lap from the 72.
yeah, as he was able just to throw down absolute heater there right at the end.
So this is how our grid tentatively will look unless something changes in the next 10 seconds. But the only cars, we have Mathis. Pritchard is stuck in the pit lane. Mathis is the only one on a lap. He's going to cross the line. JJ Wang, I don't really understand what he was doing. Maybe he wanted to get a good run into the corner. He is taken off the road. And that is qualifying. Pole position, Jeff Mathis in car number 72. Alongside him is his teammate, JJ Wang. Pritchard in lane on the second row of the grid. Christian Jasper, Paul Crone, Ben Carswell, Aaron Totten, Dylan Thomas, Adrian Johansson, and Martin Mathis sits in 11th. Remember, our coverage and series brought to you by the Service Experts Advantage program. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment. And for more information, visit serviceexperts.com. Thank you all for joining us for the Service Experts eTriple Crown Challenge. Cody Erdmann, my name is Josh Mertz. We have Bryan Sawyer in the production truck this evening. As we are getting ready here in Long Beach. I'm interested to see what'll happen in this first corner. Will the teammates play nice? Or will they brawl their way to see who will take the fight into the first corner? Glad you can join us on the Automotive Sports Network Live or on ASN On Demand, as we have today and the next 2 weeks in the month of December to have some more EMSA action for you. And remember, NASA Rallycross returns February 27th for the 2023A Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. February 27th, Brands Hatch. As we get ready for feature race number 1 here in California.
Okay, Bryan, get ready. Go, nail it.
We go green in Long Beach. Off the line. Mathis didn't get a good jump compared to Wang. His teammate pulled side by side the teammates down to the first corner. Crone trying to sneak through the picture. He is sitting in P5 now, down into turn number 1. Will Pritchard look? He thought of it. Didn't want to do that. Backing out as Mathis into the first corner. Side by side, it was Lane and Crone. Then it was Jasper and Crone through the fountain for the first time. Single file for the top 5. Everybody realizing that maybe I should stay single file through the fountain. Such a tricky corner to get right. JJ Wang holds the lead over his teammate as we go back on to the straightaway. Down the corner into the wall was Pritchard. He's got huge damage, I think, and he's out. Our winner from Daytona, the inaugural E-Roval race, is out. Crone squeezed by Lane in the Takati turn, and the 2 TWR cars trying to pull away, but Ian Lane for Sunshine Auto sits in third. Cody, this is a little confusing for Mathis. He sat on pole, but he got blitzed off the line by JJ Wang.
Yeah, his teammate absolutely just pretty much, I don't know if Mathis was sleeping there at the start or what happened, but JJ was able just to launch, get a good run, clear turn 1. He had no pressure as he's coming around the hairpin, going to lead lap, the first lap here in Long Beach. Not sure what happened there to Jordan Pritchard, too. He's still running.
As Wang, Mathis, Lane, Crone, slipstreaming Lane. They were title protagonists, title battle last season until Crone out and away from the rest of the field. As we ride on board Crone, the 38. And Jordan Pritchard back on track, but he is in the 11th spot. Apologies if our stream's a little bit behind. It is not playing nice with us here on our internal Discord feed, so hopefully we can get that fixed in the next couple minutes. I don't know, Bryan, if you want to close it and reopen it, see if we can fix that for us. But JJ Wang ahead of the field. Jeff Mathis second. If we look at the lap time, granted it was one lap in, but it was a 26.6 to a 27.9. That was 1.3 seconds, and I think that was all down to the start. As hopefully we'll be able to get that fixed, as I don't think it has fixed itself. Lane, Crone, Jasper, the top five. Christian Jasper, one of the newcomers in the series, Cody. I believe you were saying he's for Destino Motorsports, so good to see the Destino team return here in EMSA.
Yeah, he's got the beautiful black and gold livery on the number 44 ride.
As the gap now, once we get that updated, 1.3 seconds is the gap. Last lap, he was a 10th up. Ian Lane was half a second faster than these guys, though, and he is coming quickly to battle Mathis and JJ Wang, and bringing along Paul Crone for good measure. Crone on pace with the top two. As looks like Crone nearly into the fence in the 38. Mathis trying to take the fight to Wang through the field. They're all pretty much running 1 minute 20s or lower, except for Lane that last lap, 1 minute 19.9. First sector split is pretty even. We'll see the second sector split pretty even as well. So I don't know if Lane or the top two got into a rhythm or if Lane only had one brilliant lap. But we'll just have to wait and see through the hairpin yet again. Remember, there's still another feature race left to go. After this one, we've got just under 16 minutes left in this first feature here in Long Beach. Lap times at the line, 1 minute 19.959. Lane was consistent, but JJ Wang reset fastest lap, 1 minute 19.660 for the 61. And this is just like we talked about last season. We talked about last season the inconsistency of JJ Wang, Cody, and I think that I was trying into the wall. Ice commentator's curse. I said it. He hit the curb. I was just about to talk about consistency, and here comes his teammate Mathis. Down to the inside. Will he peak? No. Just about to say this mini championship is set for a redo. You don't have to worry about what you did in the past 10 weeks. You can run your own race, and Cody, granted it was
Okay, Bryan.
probably our fault
15
here,
minutes
hyping him
left.
up.
That's 15 minutes.
Dazzy, just a little bit of mistake there, but wasn't just a big enough mistake where Mathis was able to capitalize. And then Mathis almost clipped actually the inside wall a couple corners ago. So I think the pressure is getting these two, and B3 is just sitting there watching, hoping that they do make a mistake, as Lane's right on the back wing of both of these two drivers. We pretty much got a 4-car breakaway with our defending champion, as we talked about having not enough pace. All of a sudden sitting P4 as
Couple cars around into the hairpin. Thomas and Ben Carswell. I apologize there. We're looking at timing instead of our main feed. Totten looked like he clipped the curb as I took a look. Clipped the curb, and then Carswell just washed into him. So a little bit of a clunky accident, but with that corner, it always happens, Cody.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone's just jumping on the brakes. As Jordan Pritchard was able to catch it back in the field because of that too now. So now he's starting to work his way through the field. He's actually top 5 car pace-wise. Just I wonder if he got a slowdown through that where he pretty much stopped. I wonder if he got a slowdown there. I don't think he hit anything.
He might have, but he turned hard left like he wanted it, like he hit the wall, so like he had damage. So I'm not entirely sure. Paul Crone is hauling the mail, trying to catch up to the top 3. JJ Wang, Jeff Mathis, Ian Lane. The gap between them is 1.1 seconds. Make it 1 second. So 3 cars under 1 second. And this hairpin, like I mentioned, so tricky to get right. The first set of curbs are smooth. The second set of curbs, bumpy rumble strip. That's what happened to Totten. Into the hairpin. Nose to tail, nearly on top of each other. Exiting the hairpin down Shoreline Drive. Under the bridge and across the start-finish line. Just above 13 minutes left to go, and they're all running the same lap times. Paul Crone at the line, 0.2 down on the top 2. So He is on pace, yet he isn't. He's holding strong in P4. Remember this invert, Ben Carswell and Jordan Pritchard would be on the front row if it ended right now.
Yeah, as it's these top four have kind of checked out. It's about 4 seconds back to Jasper. So I think these four, it'll be an entertaining fight to watch these four going through the invert, trying to fight their way through the slower traffic, and then as well. So Wang would also be at the end of that train instead of the front of it like he is now. So should be a good race to watch. As right now we're just watching them try to battle out, keep the tires underneath them, and see who will prevail and not making a mistake here at this tricky street course.
As back in the pack, Pritchard looked to the inside of Adrian Johansson for the 8th spot. Position change, 27 under acceleration, a little squirrely. Pritchard takes the spot, so your man moves up 1 position. As not missing anything for the top 3 through the hairpin, top 4 in shot. But Ian Lane, we know he's super fast. He won in Pocono in the E-Roval Series. Mathis won in Daytona, or sorry, not Daytona, but Pritchard, my apologies. Charlotte, I don't know how I got those two confused. As JJ Wang, before I jinxed him, and I'm probably going to jinx him again, he's won the first feature before. He's obviously been on pole position, but he never put it together. So it's interesting to see, can JJ Wang redeem himself in lanes around from 3rd? And I think if I roll it back, he either overran the corner or clipped the curb. Way too much speed into the corner. And that was tricky when I was on track with this car. Because you don't have anti-lock brakes, and my interpretation of it, because you don't have an engine, you can't use the gears to slow you down. So it's just a matter of pick your braking point, and you hope that it's early enough to where you can get on the binders. Through the corner, JJ Wang didn't have a great run. Mathis had a run to the inside. Couldn't get the grip off the corner. Mid-corner, he was fine. Down Seaside Way once again.
Another thing that's going to be nerve-wracking right now for the team owner, Mr. James Watson, is both of his drivers are trying to battle for the win, and hopefully they don't accidentally take each other out while doing so, because that's probably the worst thing as a team owner.
As the man in 3rd has benefited from leaders crashing before, Paul Krohn. I think it actually happened in Atlanta or in Charlotte, where he benefited from people crashing into each other, especially whether it was teammates or not. Christian Jasper sits in P4 now in his first race. Aaron Totten 5th, Lane down to the 6th position. But the battle looks to be for the race lead. Looks like that's our closest battle right now. And I'm interested to see if Mathis is just saving his stuff for his teammate, or if JJ just has the pace. And maybe just miscalculated in qualifying earlier.
I think these two are just pretty evenly
Bryan,
matched,
10
I would
minutes
say.
to go. That's 10
Obviously, they're
minutes
coming out
left.
of
We're
the
halfway
same
through.
race shop. And they probably did a ton of testing together. So I'd imagine these two are they're so equally matched. We saw it in Charlotte. Ooh, Wang a little over-rotated there in the center of the corner. So Mathis was able to just reel him in just about half a car length. We have noticed, I think Wang does like to overheat the rear tires a little bit. So the back end starts stepping around, getting a little squirrely. And especially, we haven't ran on a racetrack like this where you got just bumps of a regular street.
Not to cut you off, Totten is battling with Lane. Totten was on the far right side of the track as they are side by side as the leaders go through the hairpin. Side by side for P5. Hopefully we can pick that up down into the Firestone corner. Can Lane swoop around the outside? There's a 4-car gaggle. Totten takes the spot, holds the spot, I should say. Here's Thomas and Pritchard sneaking into the picture as well. But Totten had some issues through the hairpin here. This is for the 5th spot. Runs it wide. Lane tries to get the bite off the corner. Even out of the corner and now down the straightaway. Get into the slipstream. That's at least what I would do. Down Shoreline Drive. Totten holds the spot. So tricky when your spotter says that he's there, but you don't know where he is, whether he's hanging there at your bumper or whatnot. But down the straight into the first corner. Lane deep on the brakes. Does he do it again? He does, but he saves it this time. Position change. 98 to P5. Back up front. Mathis still stalking his teammate Wang. Wang ran a little bit wide in the Takati turn, and Mathis isn't using all the road on corner entry there, Cody.
No, as I've noticed a lot of guys, they've only been using about half the road there. Not swinging it all the way out. I think these cars, the torque, it just snaps so quickly that you don't need to swing it out wide and keep the momentum going.
as 1 minute 20.658 and a 1 minute 20.698. Talk about being on the same pace. Are these two TWR teammates, as Krohn was 2/10 slower, as JJ Wang, under acceleration, loses the car, and Mathis goes to the lead. Let's see if he can take the spot. And under acceleration, torque was too much, and JJ Wang out of the lead. Backing the corner up heavily, interestingly. I'd have to agree with you or bring up that point that you said earlier. Maybe he cooked his tires because now he is way slower than his teammate.
Yeah, I have noticed it the last couple times going through the middle portion of the, like pretty much from here on, every time he'd get on the gas, the back end would want to step out from underneath him. So,
as Mathis, Carswell, we're looking through the field. Lane, Totten, Pritchard. It looks like Dylan Thomas has fallen off that midfield battle. Pritchard trying to redeem himself in car number 9. Looks to the inside of Totten, deep on the brakes, and Totten just going to let him have it. Into the wall goes the 28. Good awareness for Totten to not try and challenge that spot. But it's almost, the lack of a challenge is a little discouraging, I would say. Unless he knew that they were such different pace-wise.
yeah, he could have seen from his spotter and everything, or could have been informed from the spotter and everything that Jordan pretty much ran them down from a good couple seconds back. So probably knew that there was no point to challenge him. It's quicker just to let him go and tuck back in line and try to keep up with them. And usually that's a quicker battle. That's kind of something I usually tend to do. If I know that they're a lot quicker, I'll just let them go quickly and just tuck in line and be able to run my own race.
So Ben Carswell and Adrian Johansson battling for 9th and 10th. Why are you focused on this, Josh? Well, because remember, this is the invert front row. Granted, you could still start second and apparently take the lead into turn 1 like we saw earlier, but still, these guys, newcomers to the series, and having a hell of a battle for P9. We're not missing anything through the field. The teammates have a decent gap between them. It's about 2 seconds, and that whole gap was that last lap when JJ Wang just was really slow. I'm not really sure, like we mentioned earlier, what had happened there, but Carswell, great exit off the corner compared to Johansson. Will he stick it into the inside, into the corner? No. Thought he would have, but Johansson deep on the brakes in the 27. Such a magnificent track here in Long Beach. In whatever car you're racing, never gets boring, never gets tiring.
And absolutely stunning, just
5 minutes to go.
scenery
This is good.
around
We'll
it.
be on the podium if
On
we can
top
keep
of
it
it, but
together.
it's a really fun layout. Plenty of passing opportunities. Unlike just some of the street circuits, you only have a couple. Here you have almost a good half of the circuit. It's almost a good passing opportunity.
Will Carswell do the over-under on Johansson? Johansson pushed way wide in the hairpin. Off the corner. I think Johansson's going to have the acceleration, but Carswell will have the slipstream. Down the front straightaway. Carswell sticks behind car number 27. Is car number 48. Will he dive to the inside? He does. Will he take the spot?
As now we have another car to join this battle, as Jasper unfortunately spun around in turn 1. So now he's in the middle of these two. As now Carswell is able to check out.
And Ian Lane, I don't know how old that, well, that has to be super old. It said he dropped out and then rejoined, so I didn't know when that was. Up front, we're not missing anything. The gap is 1.5 seconds now as we just cross under 3 minutes left to go here in Long Beach.
As Wang was a half a second faster that last lap. So I wonder if he was just letting his tires cool down. And now he's going to try to do a late race charge. Although the faster of the three was Paul Krohn.
1 minute 20.857 for our inaugural eRoval champion. Faster than these guys. And we've seen that happen before where Krohn just doesn't use his stuff up. He waits until the last possible couple minutes. I'm worried that the gap is too big. It's 3.2 seconds to the race lead. 3.4, make it 3.5 now. The gap is 1.6 from Mathis to Wang. Still a huge gap to make up, but Wang's going to cut off half a second each lap. He'll be there in a couple laps, but it's just a matter of time. Just under 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah, these three have been running pretty identical lap times. But now it's pretty much the money time. We only got probably 2 laps left, I'd imagine.
As JJ Wang trying to catch his teammate Jeff Mathis, who you look at the box score and you said, well, he started first and he's finishing first. That's kind of boring. Well, it wasn't that way because off the start he got blitzed off the line by his teammate JJ Wang. I would almost say there was a little bit of wheel spin on Mathis or just a delay with the reactions, but Wang took the spot down to turn 1. Last lap, he was a 10th up on his teammate. Where is Crone at the end of this last lap? 1 minute 20.9. That can't be right. It is right. As, again, Wang was half a second up. I was reading the wrong lap times. Apology there.
Actually,
Wang might catch his teammate.
Yeah, he let his tires cool down and just pretty much let everything just kind of go back to neutral. And now he's got that speed back. So now he's going to do an absolute blitz here to try to be able to mount a run here.
We should be looking at, this is the penultimate lap of the race. We should be looking at 1 lap to go when they cross the start-finish line one more time. I don't know if Paul Crone will have the time to do it. The gap is 1.3 from Mathis to Wang, TWR teammates. Wang into the wall, even scraping it just a pinch. Cody compromises the acceleration and top speed of your car.
Daz, he has a little bit less of a run down that straightaway. I have just noticed something. There is damage on the left front of Mathis's car. I wonder if that something happened in the last couple laps as we were watching the midfield.
We're not missing anything in the midfield now. We will focus on our race leaders as we take the white flag in feature race number 1 of the Triple Crown. Jeff Mathis trying to start this mini championship like he ended the eRoval series 1 week ago with a victory in Charlotte. Mathis was a 121-1, 121-1 for JJ Wang. He might have ran out of time unless Mathis makes a mistake. Of course, we don't want that. Commentator's curse. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time around, but Wang might have peaked at the wrong time, but it was just those couple of mistakes that he had made, one in this corner and one exiting the hairpin. And like we had mentioned, this is your reset to not make those mistakes.
Yeah, as he's just trying to put together a good race here. And then the next round is where he's going to make sure he puts a perfect race together, because that's usually where it's been biting him. There's also, we do have a battle for P4 as Jordan Pritchard caught Ian Lane. So we'll keep an eye on that when the leaders cross the line.
Down Seaside Way one last time for our race leaders. And it looks like the first victor of the eTriple Crown is going to be Jeff Mathis. Remember, the feature race wins are scored along with the overall wins. So we're still looking at an overall win. That's what Mathis would want. Still has 20 minutes to do it. But he wins his second feature race in EMSA and opens the Triple Crown in the best style, winning in Long Beach. JJ Wang second, third Paul Crone. The battle for fourth. Backing up the corner is Pritchard. Will he get the acceleration off? He will not. Lane will cross fourth. It'll be Pritchard. Sixth, Totten. Seventh, Thomas. Eighth, Carswell. Ninth, Jasper. 10th, Johansson. 11th, Mathis, unless something catastrophic goes wrong. Mathis will be the odd man out. So pole position for the invert, Johansson, and then 9th place for Jasper.
Shout out to our series owner, P7. I think that might be his personal best.
I was going to say something along those lines. I've been keeping an eye on him throughout this race. And there's our results.
And Mr. Totten, too. I believe that was one of his better runs that he had.
I'm going to step away for a couple minutes, but I'm going to bring in, if he's around, bring in our feature race winner, Jeff Mathis, and you can have a chat with him.
Hey there, Jeff. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, so we were wondering a little bit what happened there in the start that your teammate was able to kind of jump out in front of you.
I had Ian in my rearview mirrors, so we were talking and we wanted to make sure it's clean, and as long as we don't screw up turn 1, we're going to be good. And so I had Ian behind me. I did not get a particularly great start, so we're just going to be smart and we're going to make sure we got through cleanly, and then after that we were going to focus on getting through the first lap clean, and then we'll worry about racing from there.
Yeah, you guys put on an excellent battle. You pretty much have been the top two drivers throughout practice and qualifying. Did you guys do a ton of testing for this? As now we're going from the Rovals that we did for 10 weeks to now to our street circuits.
I'd love to say we had the test team working around the clock, and it was just every bit of effort we could put into it. Not quite, but we did do some testing throughout the week and playing with the cars, and there isn't a huge amount to change, and we didn't know exactly how the weather was going to be, so just kind of took a good guess of where it was going to be. We know how the cars have been from the Roval series, and just be smart.
Has there been any significant changes driving wise? As now we're going on to these street circuits, they're a little bit more bumpy, obviously a little bit more narrow, so we have less room of mistakes. Has there been any kind of mindset changes or driving style changes you have to do for this?
Not been a huge amount, although we have a lot more stop and go corners, so really focusing on getting the car stopped and turned. You don't have to carry the speed through the corners like you would, the windy section at Charlotte. We got a lot more like turn one, but even that was kind of open. And then a very important thing, especially for a street circuit, and you probably saw us all make, especially me and JJ, made a couple mistakes. On the Porsche, the rear of the car is significantly wider. I think it's probably 3 inches wider in the rear. So you really got to be careful, especially at the hairpin. I know I nailed the right side door a couple times just because the front's clear, the rear's not. So
yes, I did notice there was a little bit of damage on that right front there, so that explains what happens. Yeah, and your teammate and probably a decent amount of drivers we watched kind of the tank slap the wall, especially on entry. I noticed a couple drivers were kind of tank slapping it going in.
yeah, especially I want to say turns 6, 7, something like that. After you've done the nice little wiggles around the car park, and then you make the left to go into the back straight, the left before the back straightaway. The wall's wide, and then it narrows in right at the braking zone, and it's real easy to catch the right rear fender sitting out there.
Guys, actually, just on our stream, we just had Mr. Paul Crown do it as a slow-mo replay. So just kind of give our viewers an idea what we're talking about. So anyone you'd like to thank on getting you to the top of the podium on the first race?
First race, just JJ and Ben, we've all been working, kind of trying to figure out the cars and figure out if there was anything we were missing. Obviously, we were all pretty quick last season, had good results, so wasn't too much there, but we were working pretty good. And James Watson for forming the team that did everything. And then one thing I do want to point out, if you get a chance, if you go through some of the drivers, I know a specific issue for me, the last left-hander, and then going into the hairpin. With the way these cars are set up, it's a gigantic steering wheel. Your hand's in front of you the entire time. Just to be aware that we're dealing with all these tire degradation issues. And for some corners, we just can't see.
Well, good to know. And we'll keep that in mind as we're got about a minute or two away from the start of race number 2. So good luck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later as an overall winner.
I look forward to seeing you guys later.
As now we sit here and wait for race number 2.
Just under 30 seconds as we get ready for the second feature race. Remember, our coverage and series brought to you by the Service Experts Advantage program. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment. For more information, visit serviceexperts.com. Thank you all for joining us on the Automotive Sports Network tonight. Myself, Josh Mertz, Cody Erdmann, alongside me in the commentary box, Bryan, Sawyer down in the production truck for the EMSA Service Experts eTriple Crown Challenge, as we have tonight, next week in Detroit, and following week in Chicago. I joke and say that I could be down on the track, but that won't happen. As we get ready for this second feature race, another 20 minutes. Everybody gets inverted except for Martin Mathis. Poor Martin Mathis will start 11th. Our grid, Adrian Johansson, Christian Jasper, Carswell and Thomas on the second row, Totten and Pritchard, Lane and Crone, Wang and Mathis. So the TWR teammates, Cody, effectively the back row of the grid. Thoughts?
They're going to have to do their best to drive through the field on this tight street circuit, especially the first couple corners. It's probably the tightest. So unlike Supercross where it goes wide to narrow, we're going straight into the narrow. Like,
Well, luckily here you do have the runoff of the pit exit that you, I think, technically can use. I don't know if the sim will mark you as off track, but if anything happens, you have that about car width and a half maybe to use it a little bit more. Like I said, thank you all for joining us here on ASN, whether it's live or on demand, as we get ready for the second feature race here in Long Beach. Green flag in Long Beach. I think it's going to be a jump start for Ben Carswell. He rolled off the grid very early compared to everybody else. Crone got a great start. Mathis looks to the outside of his teammate. That's battling for ninth. Down to the first corner. It's going to be 3 wide with Lane, Wang, and Matt. 1 car through the middle. It's Crone. He goes. He's going to take it. No, he makes contact. 2 cars around. Crone gets turned. I thought he was going to make it stick, and he didn't make it stick. We're 4 wide in turn 1. 1 car, it looks like, it's Jasper who got used up in the first couple of corners, but Paul Crone has gone from 8th to 2nd in 1 corner. That's going to be a good one for the highlight reel. Adrian Johansson leads, Crone in 2nd, Totten, Thomas, Pritchard, Carswell, Jasper, Lane. Wang got damage on the front of the 61. Mathis. I don't know why it took me that long to figure out that we have 2 with the exact same name, essentially. But wow, Cody. Paul Crone showing why he's the defending champion. What a move!
guys, our top 2 drivers have still not yet passed anybody. They're stuck in LA traffic.
That was... I don't have things that usually make me at a loss of words, but that was a loss of words because you didn't expect Crone to make 2 3-wide passes in a row. Yeah, he made a little bit of contact, but he sits in 2nd, and he's challenging Johansson for the race lead at the end of the first lap. Remember, it's an average of the 2 feature races. He has 3 points and 2 points. He goes to the inside. He wants to make it 4 points in total. He takes the race lead. And Crone from 8th to 1st in 1 lap. Carswell to the pit lane in the 48. He had some issues on that first lap. Pritchard, contact with Thomas. What happened in the fountain between those 2?
Looks like he just kind of overshot the corner, unfortunately. Because now he's done for the day.
He must have misjudged horribly because he drove through the foliage and into Thomas in the 00. Hopefully we can get that up. There it is again, Cody.
Yeah. Wonder that, or I wonder if he had a technical problem where it was black screen or something where it just went on him.
It's the only thing that I can think of.
Is Dylan Thomas is trying to limp around, the left front's not even spinning. So that car's pretty obliterated.
So Carswell, Pritchard, and it's going to be Thomas effectively out. So we're going to have 8 cars left after a lap and a quarter. As I was mentioning, so the easiest way to figure out who would win this race overall is think about Paul Crone finishes 3rd in the first feature. He has 3 points. He'd get an additional point for winning this race. Whoever has the smallest number will win this race. So Crone would have 4 points compared to Johansson's 12. And you do not get a point for qualifying your fastest lap like you did before. So that was just to score the overall race results. Paul Crone loves this. Out and away from Johansson, Totten, Lane. And they still haven't made it through this traffic.
Yeah, the only traffic they've made through is the couple drivers that have unfortunately had a park. So Wang is yet to pass anyone. I don't know why he's just kind of stuck behind Jasper here. It's almost that theory of like when you get stuck behind just a little bit slower driver and you start running their pace and not your own.
It's the worst.
It's absolutely the worst. It's like, you know it and I know it. Like
it's the worst.
You're sitting there, you run a couple laps and you're thinking to yourself like, what am I doing?
And it's tricky here because of just how difficult it is to overtake. While you do have, like we mentioned in the pre-show, through this hairpin here, down the front straightaway into the first corner. That's the best spot, but you have to make sure that you ace this exit. Wang's going to run a little bit wide, but he doesn't want to open the door too much for Mathis. But these guys can't squabble too long, Cody, because they have to get a move on Paul Crone. Otherwise, he's going to sweep this overall like he did every single race almost last season as Ian Lane resets fastest lap.
Yeah, this pretty much proves that how Krone was able to win that title last season. He was able to get through the traffic as quickly as possible, or sometimes methodically, I will say, when we did have the invert, but he'd have a decent run, most likely a podium in the first round, or the first race, and the second race he'd just drive through the field either quickly as possible if he can, or he'll just take his time methodically and let the mistakes happen. And here we go again. We have new championship, but it's the same song.
Same song, second verse. Ian Lane's the closest to him on pace. He ran a 1 minute 19.6. That was that fastest lap reset. Krone ran a 1 minute 20.9. So Lane thought about the inside, taking it to the inside of Johansson, couldn't stick it in that corner. And now it's just a matter of trying to see if anybody can make any forward progress, but it doesn't look like it. Lane's our best hope. Off the final corner, down Shoreline Drive. And we'll look at Lane sitting in the slipstream of Johansson. Down the straightaway into turn number 1. Will he be brave on the brakes in the 98? Looks to the inside. Committed. Thought about backing out of it. And he's going to force Johansson into a mistake. Lane to P3.
Oh, and then same thing happened right behind him. Oh, Mathis just clips the wall. Was trying to get around Jasper. Like I said, same thing happened. Mathis did get around Wang, though. So now let's see if Mathis is able to punch a hole for the two TWR teammates.
As Mathis was side by side with Jasper, but the barrier juts out for the fountain, so he couldn't do anything there. Still on the inside of Jasper in the 44. They touch! No harm done between those two. Mathis on the outside. Brave maneuver. He thought of it. Now he peeks to the inside. Perfect to back up that corner, Cody. He's side by side at his door. Will he challenge down into the braking zone? And he does. Put Mathis to P5. JJ Wang wants to pick up the pieces that his teammate has left behind. Rounding the outside. Can he get the car to grip to force in the hairpin? He hits Jasper, and Jasper gets ping-ponged again. And Wang's going to stop. Doesn't want to take the spot that way, but Martin Mathis now. Will he take the spot away from Wang? It doesn't look like it, but Wang had to move the bus around the corner once you get stopped. Very hard to turn these cars.
No, unfortunately, that was what we were talking about in the beginning of the race. That the second race has been Wang's kryptonite. He can be run super quick, but then once he gets to the inverted, I don't know if he has a harder time just trying to get around drivers or the thought process. He's still learning how to pick apart his drivers that are trying to get around him, but unfortunately that's been what's been kind of being his, like I said, his kryptonite.
As update for the top two, Ian Lane has moved into the second position. My timing is still updated from the running order of the start, so to put this into perspective, Krone was 8th at the start, and he led after the first lap. So we'll take a look. Last lap, Krone and Lane ran equal lap times. So I don't know if there's going to be any change there unless something catastrophic happens. Mathis misses the apex. Johansson does not. Jasper and Wang. Martin Mathis, Ben Carswell. Carswell off the lead lap after the incident in turn 1. Sneaks to the inside of Martin Mathis. Clobbering the curb. They're going to be side by side through the right-hand corner as we still look at Johansson. But Carswell in the back of the field. Battling Martin Mathis, straight lines the corner, doesn't hit him, but shoves him wide. And poor Mathis has to do a 3-point turn. But like we talked about, it's just how you have to run that corner. And I think everyone accepts that that's the way, unfortunately, that you have to take that corner. It's the nature of this track.
Yeah, it's almost like a supercross mentality where you just pretty much box out the driver, make them have to pretty much stomp on the brakes. Otherwise, they're going to smash the wall.
Last lap around, Ian Lane was half a second up on Paul Krone. The gap sits at 2.7 seconds, with just 11 minutes, halfway home left to go in this second feature race. If the race were to end right now, Krone would still win overall. Lane looks like he would come home in the second position. No, Mathis would come home in the second position as he's rallying his way back up. Ian Lane looks like he would be in third overall. We'll get a final total once we get there. But I wonder if Mathis can catch Totten and get onto the podium of the second feature. But that's a good insight for Jeff to know that maybe I should take a little bit more risks like Paul Krohn.
Yeah, he's probably gonna kind of watch the replay here and realize that, I probably should have tried sending it up. But also, this is the first time we've had a street circuit. They don't know what to expect, especially the guys that were super fast out front. It's like we were saying, it's super hard to pass. We do have a couple passing zones, like I said, unlike some of the street circuits where you only have one. So
Lap times were equal that last time around. It was 1 minute 20.644 for Krohn. It was a 0.604 for Lane. So there was nothing between those two. Gap is still 2.5 seconds. So I don't want to say that Lane has rolled over and called it quits, but that's a lot of gap to make up with not a lot of difference in pace. Like we had talked about earlier between the two teammates.
we also are just past the halfway mark, so anything can happen.
Usually does. Let's not forget about that.
It usually does. Like you said, yep, I 100% agree. Also, Lane is kind of rallying here.
Speaking of rally, remember NASA Rallycross returns February 27th on the Automotive Sports Network, the 2023A Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. You'll join myself, Philip Kraus, and Bryan Sawyer for all that action February 27th on ASN Live. That's going to be a wonderful series. Of course, our bread and butter here in the Automotive Sports Network.
As that segue was absolutely buttery smooth.
That's exactly why I took it. Paul Krohn leads if you're just joining us, but we didn't take a look at this last lap, Cody. 1 minute 20.189 for Ian Lane. He was a 1.3 seconds faster the last lap. What were we just talking about?
Anything can happen.
And it usually does. Normally I say that for NASA, but it has to be said in EMSA here as well, because over the past 3 months since we partnered with Dylan Thomas and company, it has certainly been an incredible ride, and we're glad that EMSA chose us to continue our partnership for the Triple Crown. There's going to be a lot of stuff for EMSA in 2023, so keep an eye on that Discord, and happy to say that the Automotive Sports Network, as long as they want us, we will be along for the ride. But the gap is 1.5 seconds between Krohn and Lane. We haven't seen a proper battle between these two in quite some time. Take a look at the lap time. 1 minute 20.765, 1 minute 20.848. Krohn responds. We're taking a look. JJ Wang trying to get by Christian Jasper for the 6th spot, Cody.
Got a little bit of run with the slipstream. Looks left here.
Peaks
see if he outbreaks him.
Down the corner.
About perfect.
Last of the late breakers. He's going to lose a little bit of the apex speed, but it doesn't matter. He holds the spot. Jasper now potentially will get passed by Carswell. Carswell is a way back, and he's also off the lead lap, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a deal. But Jeff Mathis sits in third. He got by Totten, and we might have missed it, so apologies there. Let's get a recount on this. This ties the overall. Krohn would still win because he's out front. Mathis would second. Third would be Ian Lane. How about that?
As it would be a really tight points battle here. If anything does happen to the front too, Mathis would kind of fall into it. But Mathis was 2/10 faster than Lane that last time. We'll see this time. 9, 9, and 20.8. So that was a 10th faster up for Mathis that last lap.
As the gap is shrinking, 1.4 between the top two up front. Not much happening throughout the field.
Wang was a second up on Johansson, so that will probably be a battle at some point. And Totten's right in front of them too, so Wang could possibly get 2 more cars by the end of this race. We'll end up seeing.
It'll change the podium for sure overall, but Paul Krohn sneaking out away to this overall race win. That's the only tricky thing about this format is you can have, I guess, not a terrible race for the first feature, but if you ace the second feature, who cares? You're probably going to win the race overall. And Paul Krone has just a tick over 5 minutes left, but Ian Lane not letting him get away. Gap is 1.1, 1.2. It's going to get good in the final few minutes.
It's really going to get good because I just realized something that may be a first. If Wang's able to get around Johansson and Totten, we would have a tie for first and a tie for third.
Huh. Half a second up was Lane on Krone that last lap. Trying to find Wang. He's got a slipstream on Johansson. Car 27 defending on car 61. Where will JJ go? Looks to the inside in the braking zone. Not close enough. Johansson's going to miss the braking point. Again gets spooked into missing the apex. Side by side into the fountain. Wang's going to prevail there. I think Johansson's just worried about the cars behind and he just forgets his braking point. I mean, it's easy to do. I still do it. But real quick up front, the gap is 3/4 of a second. Lane's not going to give Krone this race win easy.
Okay, he could absolutely spoil this whole points party we got going on.
Krone last lap was a 1 minute 20.8. Lane was a 1 minute 20.3. Mathis just really kind of vibing at this point, waiting for these two to make a mistake. Right now, we're focused on, it looks like, Johansson and Jasper. We'll have to take a look at the lap times for the top two. 3 3/4 minutes left to go. 1 minute 21.1 to a 1 minute 20.2. A second up. Jasper looks on Johansson. Car length is the gap. Johansson runs it wide. Up front. Krone, I thought, was going to hit the wall in turn one. Jasper's going to get the slipstream. 2 car lengths, maybe 2.5. Behind Johansson is Jasper. If we can go back up front, this gap is getting closer. Krone might have cooked his tires, Cody.
Yeah, he's been trying to just outpace Lane, but I think Lane's been, I think the
Jasper
quicker
takes
car.
The spot on Johansson. Johansson did the same thing that he's done before. Actually, it looks like he gave it up for P6. So much action. Krone into the wall. I think Krone's feeling the pressure for the first time in quite some time. Ian Lane applying pressure to our defending champion here in EMSA. Deep on the brakes.
Looked like Lane overran that corner a little bit.
This is going to be a spectacular last couple of laps because he is quicker than Krone in the hairpin. Much better grip is Lane. He's going to have the slipstream. He is all over the rear wing of Paul Krone as we take lap number 14. Lane's got the slipstream. It's a car length. Make it maybe 2. Make it maybe 1.5. Right around that range. Will Lane sneak to the inside? He's going to look to the outside. Krone's going to defend. Lane deep on the brakes. Nearly hits Krone into the first corner. He was half a second up that last lap.
As we got a 2-car battle here just coming around the fountain.
Nothing much happening aside from that. Mathis sits in the 3rd spot. Lane clobbers the corner, or clobbers the curb, I should say. All 4 tires off the ground. And Krone trying to hang on. Such a fascinating battle here in EMSA for the Service Experts Triple Crown. We're going to close out this first race in spectacular fashion. Looks like Krone over-rotated there, Cody, mid-corner.
Yeah, it's just a little bit back end stepped out under power. Lane looked to the inside, thought better of it.
Trying to spook him was Lane on Krone, and Krone went to defend and realized he wasn't serious. Lane all over the rear wing. Will he send it into the hairpin? I would wait until last gasp effort to get something done.
Ooh, looks like Krone got a little bit squirrely getting back on the power.
Under a minute left. This is it. The white flag in Long Beach. And this is for the race lead and the race win. What will Lane do? Down Shoreline Drive into turn number 1 here in Long Beach. Defending champion Krone defending for all he's worth against Ian Lane through the fountain. I hate to be the guy who sends out the landscaping bills because these guys will have to pay those. through the double apex. Will Lane clobber the curbs? He does, but he is able to get back to the gas so quickly.
Yep, as Wang just got around Todd and they were door to door all the way down the front straightaway.
Crone
Wang-
into the wall! Crone's into the fence! Not to discredit anything in the back of the field, I've been keeping an eye on this. Crone hit the wall, Lane tried and thought of it. He's on the outside, over, under. He's going to get the run down the straightaway. Crone defends to the inside. Lane's going to have to take the long way around, down the straightaway, Seaside Way, into the final couple of corners here in Long Beach, even side by side, last of the late breakers. Lane's going to give him some room. Crone holds the spot. This is it. What will Lane do? Into the final corner. Crone's got the spot. Lane's going to have to send it. He doesn't. I thought he was. That might be it. Paul Crone is going to hold him off, and he wins in Long Beach. The defending champion starting the Triple Crown in style, defending off from Lane. Mathis comes home in third on the road, and JJ Wang finally gets by the traffic to finish in the fourth spot on the road. Fifth, Totten. Sixth, Jasper. Seventh, Johansson. Eighth, Mathis, Carswell, Thomas Pritchard.
That was an absolutely stunning finish there.
Unofficial, we are looking at Crone, Mathis, Lane, top three, as JJ Wang was tied with Lane for third, but Lane finished higher. So that is our overall podium. Unofficial. And that was not something we expected, but I don't want to say that Paul Crone lucked into a bunch of wins last season, but comparatively speaking to all those wins, this one was earned. That move into turn one, incredible.
Yeah, that was an absolutely amazing battle there at the end. I was kind of curious if Lane would kind of give him a little shock going into the hairpin, just kind of square him up and kind of push him, but I think them two have the respect for each other as they battled pretty much all last season until Lane wasn't able to show up for a couple of rounds. But
as we'll bring in Mathis really quick once again, our second place man overall. You'll have another chat with him, and he's all yours.
Hey there, Mathis.
Hello.
You got us?
Expecting it that quick. Sorry.
Yeah, all good. All good.
What's up?
As that was an absolutely amazing race throughout the entire field. What was your thoughts there? Because with race number 2, you guys had to start in the back of the field, and it took you guys a while to get through the field. What were your thoughts on trying to get through it?
Yeah, it's Happy Gilmore had it right. It's easier to just start from pole. That's much easier. If you don't have to putt, it's much easier. That was tough. JJ was doing good, but he got some damage on the first lap, and then I don't know who it was, but we were held up behind 44, and he was doing a great job. It's entirely his right to do it, but that was tough. That was tough. That was really good. It worked out pretty nice. Car drove decent. I didn't really have anything for Paul and Ian. Maybe if we did another 20 minutes, I might have had something for him, but it was looking optimistic.
Daz, not sure if you saw it from your point of view, but you'll have to watch a replay on the move that Paul pulled on going into turn 1. Just absolutely pretty much sent it from 8th to 2nd. Is that something you may have to do going into Detroit next week?
I really hope not. That looked sketchy as could be. I think that's ended up with. I think JJ ended up getting damaged based off of that move. That was sketchy to watch. We all thought we were all going to die. Really don't want to do that. Credit to Paul, getting that done and being able to survive that.
Daz, so anyone you'd like to thank to get you P2 overall for the night and going into Detroit next week?
I'd like to thank JJ once again. Just again, without him, I wouldn't see the series. Shout out to the boys. Specifically, I really want to say a big shout out to my dad's girlfriend. She's actually from Long Beach, so Susie, that was a good win for you. Other than that, yeah, I don't really have anybody to thank.
Sounds good, my friend, and we'll see you hopefully again on the podium at Long Beach or at Detroit. Sorry.
Look forward to seeing you on the podium there.
As Ian Lane, you come home in third overall, but races are described as a fourth and a second. Um, we asked Jeff in the first bit there, lap one, did you see what Paul did, and what were your thoughts?
I was like, wow, he got a much better start than me, and I wish that was me right now because he was alongside of me. But I didn't see anything after that. I got behind the spin. I think in turn one, I guess somebody spun. I think it was JJ maybe, and I just had to slam on the brakes. So I got a really bad lap one. But I was jealous of Paul starting next to me and coming out in like third. It looked like.
As he sent it from eighth to second into the first corner. It was took the words out of my mouth, and that's very infrequent that it happens. But I want to ask you, I mean, how was this track? How was this car on a street circuit compared to effectively the wide open spaces of the Robles that we were racing?
I'm biased. I love Long Beach. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. So I thought it was a really fun combo. I felt like you could push the car, and if you don't have your drive bias at -5 like I did in the first race when I hate running -5 drive bias, you won't spin out by yourself, and you can really just throw the car around, and it as long as you don't drag the walls too hard, it actually can bounce off the walls pretty well if you do happen to hit them here.
And last question before we ask of course, the sponsor plugs. What were your thoughts on that final lap? Because you had him on the outside in the penultimate corner, and Cody and I both expected maybe a bump and run, but it was not to be. So, what was the thought process there?
My hope was that he expected the bump and run and overdrove the corner, but then he just defended it like an absolute champ. So I can't fault him for that. My whole thought in the second race was just like, get this gap down as fast as possible and hope for a mistake. But he's really consistent, so I was just hoping he'd think I'd go for it, and I just broke early, and breaking early made me finish 8 tenths behind him instead of 3 tenths behind him. So it is what it is.
Anyone you'd like to thank for your result this evening in Long Beach?
Thanks to Service Experts for sponsoring the league, and Dylan and everybody for running it, and you guys for broadcasting, and thanks to my absent teammates for being here. Oh wait, no, they weren't. Well, I guess I'll support Sunshine Autos tonight, but it was a solo effort and a good finish.
Absolutely, my friend. Good run. We'll see you in Detroit next week.
Thank you guys.
The man of the hour who has bigger stones than anybody here. As I'm just going to cut straight to the point. What were you thinking? This isn't a bad thing. What were you thinking into turn one? Because it's very rare that a move gets my words taken out of my mouth. But Cody can tell you, I had no idea what I was talking about. What was the thought process?
Yeah, I'm sure Jasper is probably saying, "What were you thinking too?" But he didn't mean it in a good way. And I just like to apologize to him that I kind of let off the brakes a little too early and then ended up going wide. Man, if I would have made that would have been the sickest move ever if I had made that clean. But no, that's not how it happened. Sometimes you're the giver, sometimes you're the taker. I hate being the giver, and I mean, I guess I could have given the spot back, but maybe I got a little greedy, and turn one and lap one, it's kind of hard to do. So, no, I just I was planning on going 3 wide into 1, and everybody broke, and I thought I missed a breaking point, but I look back at the replay, I really didn't miss it that much. I think I was right on it, and was able to kind of swerve up there, past about 5 cars, and then of course the 6th car was the 44 at Jasper, and I got into him. I didn't mess him up too bad, but it caused a big pile up behind. That's kind of what happened with that. Like I said, I'm sorry. That would have been the sickest move though if I could have kept that clean.
As I guess if there's any consolation, it might have turned him a little bit, but it wasn't the whole field wadded up, which was nice. I was asking Ian, what do you think of this car on the street circuits? Was there a big difference compared to the wide open spaces of the Robles that we had?
I don't know. Other people might have a different opinion, but feels like feels like an electric Porsche here. Felt like an electric Porsche, on the Rovals. I don't know, maybe the tires held up a little better here for some reason but I mean, it's same car, same old car with its quirks and a high degree of difficulty.
And the last bit I want to ask is you started this little championship in the best possible manner. So I'm assuming that you're going to win the next 2 races. We should just call it quits now.
Well, I mean, anything can happen, with that invert. Like I hope I didn't scare a driver away. I just hope for full fields and good competition, and that's what I'm here for. If I win, I win. Everybody wants to win, but glad everybody showed up tonight. And again, to the 44, don't get scared away. Things like that happen on the invert, but it's doesn't always happen. So.
Anybody you'd like to thank for your yet another overall win here in EMSA?
Yeah, first of all, everybody else that showed up tonight. It's people got to show up for us to have a race. So thank all my fellow drivers. Thank Service Experts for sponsoring the broadcast. Thank you guys. You guys doing a great job. I love watching the VODs of the broadcast. It's it's a good time. Give me a chance to kind of reflect on everything that happened. It's good entertainment too, and of course everybody involved with running the series, Dylan and yeah, good race everybody.
Cody, you got anything for our defending champion and race winner?
Just congratulations on picking up another win here. Not a totally different style circuit here on the street course of Long Beach, and hopefully we'll talk to you again in Detroit.
Thanks, guys. See you guys later.
So, Cody, final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Different style circuit, same kind of racing. Absolutely, I wouldn't say pure chaos, but just good hard racing in the first round with your top qualifiers, and then we got to watch them try to drive through the field in the second one, and that creates some absolute chaos, as we saw. Paul decided he wanted to choose chaos today, and which we normally did not see out of him. So kind of a little bit uncharacteristic, but who knows? That may be. We'll see if that'll be the kind of the norm going into Detroit. I think some people saw the high risk, high reward move, and that may happen with Detroit. Not sure how that's going to go exactly with the kind of the first 2 corners being the right left, and then we're going to have a hard braking zone after that. So also we're going to have to watch that kind of the jump coming out of the left-hand corner. So should be an entertaining race coming next weekend, and looking forward to it.
As remember, our coverage and series both brought to you by the Service Experts Advantage program. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment. And for more information, visit serviceexperts.com. As a programming note for the Automotive Sports Network here on ASN Live on Twitch, we will be live for round 2 of the Service Experts eTriple Crown Challenge from the Belle Isle Raceway in Detroit in Michigan. Myself, Cody, Erdmann, Bryan, Sawyer for that one. Remember, NASA Rallycross starts February 27th. We'll have a couple of plugs throughout that as well. But from all of us here at the Automotive Sports Network, Philip Krause, Victor Valley, Cody Erdmann, Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz. Congratulations to Paul Crone on a crazy sending it into turn 1 move to put him in the position to win overall. Defending champion starting the mini championship in style to try and make it 2 in a row. Hope you enjoyed today's coverage, and we hope to see you next week in Michigan. But until then, so long, everyone.